A lot of times when we are out and about and running around, you may all of a sudden realize you're a little hungry, not sure what to do until you get to your next mealtime. And so you reach for a snack bar, a protein bar, or something like that. And I'm here to tell you that the vast majority of those are simply grown up candy bars in disguise, which is why today I am really excited to be talking with LindaMae Fogwell. She is the creator of a delicious whole food nutrition bar called the BocoBar. I met her at a recent conference, and so we're just going to chat a little bit about her wonderful bars. Linda, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, I'm so glad to be here. Anytime I can share this message, I want to.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we talked a little bit at the conference, but I'd love if you could share your story and how it is that you came to create these bars.
All right. So I am ADHD and I'm gluten-free. And I had a habit of running out without breakfast, but I would always stop and get coffee. Right. So I'm getting my coffee going, oh, I'm hungry. So I'd get a gluten-free muffin, which tasted great with coffee. And then I'd crash. And
Mm.
so that was just an unhealthy pattern that I was in. So I met a Canadian hemp farmer several years ago who taught me that hemp hearts, the inside of hemp seed, is incredibly stabilizing for blood sugar, just has a great nutritional profile. And he used to make a chocolate bar that I sold in a health food store that I owned back in Nashville, Tennessee. And it was just crammed full of hemp hearts. And if I had to skip lunch when I was running that shop, I would eat maybe a third of that bar and I would be good for hours. This is
Wow.
crazy. A candy bar could hold me for hours. He would say, it's the hemp hearts. It's the nutrition and hemp hearts. So when I moved to Colorado, 2017, I opened a detox spa and I started making a bar with as many hemp hearts in a date paste bar as possible for me. And I found that just one of those bars would hold me for 4 or 5 hours, even if that's all I had to eat. Again, it's the incredible nutritional profile of hemp hearts. So my clients a lot of times were woozy or lightheaded after a detox, and I knew that they needed to eat. So I started bringing the bars to stabilize my clients. And they would eat a bar and feel better in 5 minutes. And a lot of my clients were holistic nutritionists. And they said, we love your detox spa, but please bring these bars to market because we have never seen such clean bars that great ingredients, good taste, texture. So they hounded me. And I finally did bring them to market. Really, I just fully launched about a year ago. And so what the nutritionist told me is they wanted to refer clients to the bars because they tell their clients, if you don't make a plan for when you're going to skip a meal, and
Mm.
everybody skips a meal, but if you don't make a plan for that, you're probably going to make a bad decision. And they felt like the BocoBar was a really good decision for those times when you can't get the food right away because they were stabilizing. So
And
now I still run out without breakfast, Mira, and grab coffee, but I have a bar and I'm good for hours. 5 hours. And I'm good for hours.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes also skipping a meal may be unintentional. It may be just that you're out and about, but I love that you have something because obviously I've sampled your bars. I came home from the conference with some. They're really delicious and they are whole food. There is nothing awful in any of your bars. So how did you come up with the flavors? And I have to say the apple pie one is my favorite, but how did you come up with the flavors?
First of all, I wanted a bar that had great nutrition. So one of my guiding principles is never have anything in the bar that does not also benefit the body.
Mm.
So there's nothing in the bar that's strictly just to benefit the bar. It always has to have a benefit for the body. And then I wanted my flavors to be flavor forward so people would really experience that flavor and not just the flavor of hemp. We didn't want anybody to feel like, I know these are healthy. I didn't want my bar to taste like homework. Okay. So lemon is a great flavor that, is bold. Chocolate, the raw cacao, the mint cacao, those are bold flavors. The apple pie was a challenge because apple is not a bold flavor. I went with Granny Smith apples, put a whole lot of the apples in there. And of course, you've got the spices that give
Yeah.
it a bold flavor. And I'm coming out with a cranberry orange in the fall, and that's going to be a bold flavor too. Yeah, it's delicious.
That sounds really good. And so can you talk to us a little bit about the nutrition profile of hemp hearts?
Sure. So the hearts they have more protein than any other nut or seed. And
Mm.
it's a complete protein. Unlike nuts, nuts are not a complete protein, but hemp hearts are. And they have probably one of the best profiles of omega-3s and 6s, a perfect ratio of omega-3 and 6. And then there's also high in fiber. So I tell people that with my apple and my lemon bars, there's 12 grams of whole food complete protein in there. So I'll tell people that's as much protein as 2 eggs, even though my bar is vegan. And my fiber content is like 9 grams. So I'll tell people it has twice the fiber of a bowl of oatmeal, and then as many omegas as avocado toast. And I put it that way so that people can imagine breakfast. I said, so your body reads it as a meal because it's getting all the nutrients. Also, hemp hearts are alkaline. And so because my bar is raw, it's an alkaline bar, which is rare because most bars are going to be acidic. And also hemp hearts are anti-inflammatory, which we all need for anti-inflammatory foods. And hemp hearts, they're the soft inside of the hemp heart or of the hemp seed. And so they're very easy to digest. So most people feel really good on the bars.
And one of the other things that I love about them is that you don't have any added sugars in there. So I thought that was really nice because I think, unfortunately, one of the reasons so many people are attracted to at this point, I remember when protein bars first came out, there were like a few that you could choose from at the grocery store. And not that long ago, I was in a store and the entire aisle was a
Yes.
whole bunch of different kinds. And most of them have an astonishing sort of eye-watering amount of sugar. Yours are not sugar free because you use the dates, but you don't add sugar, correct?
With the lemon and apple pie bar and with the cranberry orange bar that will be coming this fall, that is true. There's no added sugar. But with the raw cacao bars, yes, there's some added sugar because if you didn't, they would be really bitter. Yes.
Yeah.
And there's in the peppermint, so I add a little bit of raw panela sugar, which is from Colombia, and it's very minimally processed. But actually, the mint cacao and the cherry cacao bars have less sugar, even though there is some added sugar. They have less sugar than the apple pie and the lemon bars.
Because the others use dates, correct?
Right. There's more dates. If I used as much dates in the cacao, I wouldn't have room for the cacao. So I have to back up on the dates, and I didn't want the bar to taste too datey. So I had to find the balance there. But actually, the least sugar is in the mint cacao. But yet people will eat that and go, wow, this is like a York peppermint patty without all the sugar. I could eat this for breakfast. I'm like, you could. I wouldn't want to do it every day. But if
Wow.
you ate this, you're not going to crash. You're going to be good for a couple
And
hours.
those are super minty. It was it felt very refreshing eating that.
Yes. I
Yeah.
like to tell people you'll be kissable for an hour.
That's so funny. Now, I remember when we were at the conference, you had some other flavors that you were working on. Where do you get your inspiration from?
Oh boy. I just think of flavors that I like and flavors that are popular out there. I'm working on actually what you saw. I'm working on a kind of another version of my bar, which is baked.
Mm.
And for that, I'm doing a cranberry orange, I'm doing a blueberry lemon, and I ended up calling it apple strudel.
Oh, nice.
And so I call those crossover bars. My plan for those will be in coffee shops. And they're not quite as much product. They're like 30 grams, 30, 35 grams instead of 50 grams for the bar. And I put a little icing on there, Mira. There's a little bit of added sugar there to get those people who just can't eat the raw bars and
Yeah.
kids. I'm like, if it takes 2 grams of sugar to get something better in you than a donut or a scone.
Well, and that, you know what? That's actually a really good point. We have to look at good, better, best. And
Yeah.
sometimes even having a little bit of sugar, if it stops you from the donut or the coffee cake or whatever, it maybe isn't
Yeah.
a bad thing while we learn to retrain the palate. So can I volunteer to be one of your taste testers? 'Cause
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said, can I volunteer to be one of your taste testers?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think I may need your address, but no, I'm looking for taste testers. I'm very open to constructive criticism. And
Yeah.
that's really one reason why I ended up with the bakes, because I had a lot of people say, no, I like your bars. They taste good, but they were not buying the bars. Okay.
Mm.
I think they were being nice because they like me. But when I took out the bakes with a little bit of icing, oh my gosh, this is delicious. I would buy this. My husband would eat it. My kids would eat it. I'm like, okay, that's what I needed to know.
Yeah, finding that balance between what they need and what they're looking
Yeah,
for.
it's a gateway bar
Yeah.
to a healthy raw bar.
And so can we talk for just a minute about I think a lot of people are confused about what raw means because most people when they think of raw they're thinking like uncooked carrots and celery. And so
Right.
can you talk about what that means in terms of what you offer?
Okay, so raw for me means it's not heated above 104 degrees.
I'm sorry, what
So,
you cut out a second. What temperature?
okay, to me, it's something that's not been heated more than 104 degrees.
Oh wow,
That's kind of
104. Okay.
okay. So the dates would be raw. The hemp parts are raw. They've never gone through a kill step, so to
Mhm,
speak. Okay, they're not irradiated. But all my bars are tested too before they go out to make sure there's no bacteria or
mhm,
anything bad in there. And the fruits that are in there, they're dehydrated or they're dried, but
mhm.
again, with a low heat process. So it's never been heated to the point where it's going to lose the nutrition. So it's still considered raw. So I tell people, imagine if I were standing in front of you and I took some dates and I spun them into a paste and then I put a bunch of hemp parts in there and then I just added everything and rolled it into a ball and patted it out and handed it to you. There was no baking, no cooking. I just took all these ingredients and put them together and said, here you go.
Yeah. That's really wonderful. And I think one of the things too that's so great about having something like this is you're also a shift because so many things these days because I like to look at the bars when I'm in the grocery store. I walk down the aisle and see what they have just because I'm very curious. And frequently it's either rice or almonds. Those are
Yeah.
the 2 big fillers, and so I love that you're using something else that is actually more protein and more sustainable,
And a complete protein.
and a complete protein. Yeah, absolutely.
So the other day, I did a demo at the only chain I'm in. It's a farm and ranch store out here called Jax, Jax. And I just one day about 6 months ago, they have a cafe in every one of their stores. They have 9 locations here. And I was in the cafe and I had samples with me and I was talking to the manager about the samples and she loved the bars and she was a bodybuilder. And she got the nutrition and the fact that they stabilized blood sugar was important to her. And she said, it's a good thing you showed me to these because I know who the buyer is and I want to get these into the stores.
Oh, wow.
So she did. And it took about 6 weeks. I got a call from the buyer. And so they sell hundreds of my bars every month. But I need to go in and educate people. One reason I didn't mind being in there is because I'm not competing with 100 bars. I really don't want to be in grocery stores because I need to educate people about the bars. Because, like you said, most bars are more like candy bars and they're cheaper than mine, using whole raw food. And people don't understand why they should pay more for my bar.
Sure.
So, what I did with Jack's is I had 3 Laura bars that
Yep.
were the lemon flavor. And I had those next to my 1 lemon zest bar. And I said, the reason I have these Laura bars here is because I want you to know you'd have to eat 3 Laura bars to get the nutrition of my 1 lemon zest bar.
Wow.
In order to get the same amount of protein, but it still wouldn't be a complete protein with 3 Laura bars because all they have is nuts. But to get the same amount of protein and the same amount of fiber and the same amount of omegas, you'd have to eat 3 of Laura bars to eat my 1 lemon zest bar. But you'd be paying more money for 3 bars and you'd be eating 600 calories instead of 230. You'd be
Yeah.
eating 62 grams of sugar instead of, I think my lemon bar is either 6 or 7 grams. And you'd be getting 42 grams of carbs. And my lemon zest bar is like 10 net carbs, 10 or 11 net carbs. And then people are like, oh, and then that was just a visual I could do to help them understand the
So you need
value.
to have a poster printed with that you put out with all your bars so that people can see that. That is astonishing, especially the amount of sugar. That's far more than anybody should be eating in one day.
And
Or
Laura Bar will say
BocoBar.
there's no added sugar. So I'm not sure where all that sugar comes from. If they're just using dates, unless they use a lot more dates for protein than I do, is all I can think of.
And they may, however, as you pointed out, yours is also a complete protein. So your whole profile is completely different. That's really
Right.
interesting.
And one thing,
Wow.
I'll tell you this quickly. One thing I heard last year when I was doing farmers markets, of course, I was talking, this is Colorado. So a lot of bikers and hikers, and they do a lot of bars. Usually what they do is they 3 bars in their backpack
Uh-huh.
for the day. And I would tell them about the difference in nutrition in my bar, and they find it hard to believe because my bar is like this big, I don't know if this big.
Yeah.
And they're like, I can't believe that this bar is going to hold me for hours. So they buy 1 bar and throw it in their backpack with the other 2. They pulled my bar out first and they never got to the backup bars. That's what I heard over and over again. So,
That's great. That is a fabulous testimonial right there of the staying power of the amount of nutrition in that bar.
yeah.
Linda, this has been really fascinating. And I love that you're breaking down why we really want to pay attention to what's in what we're eating, especially if we're choosing to do something like a meal bar or a protein bar of some kind. If anybody watching this is okay, so you're in Colorado, how do I get these bars? Where do they find you?
Go to the BocoBar.com. So that's the BOCO bar.com. I do ship all over the country. And if you buy 1 box of 12, here's a box here. There's not 12 in this box, but there would be 12 in the box that I ship to you. And I do have 4 flavors. I have lemon zest, apple pie, cherry cacao, and mint cacao. And if you buy 1 box of 12, shipping is always free anywhere in the continental US.
And you can mix and match.
You can. I do have a mixed box.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so you can get 1 of each of the 4 flavors. I also just started offering 6 bars for $24. So you could order 2 sets of 6 bars, like 1 set of lemon and 1 set of cherry cacao. I'm going to ship you a box of 12 half and half that way.
There you go.
So
That
you have a little
sounds
more
great.
flexibility now.
Yeah, no, that sounds wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. This was really fabulous. And I promise folks, this is an unsolicited testimonial for LindaMae, but I have eaten these bars. I actually brought some home from the conference with me, and they are really delicious. So totally worth getting. And I really want to thank you for coming on and sharing the information and your inspiration, your story with us. That's been really wonderful to talk with you.
Yeah, you were a pleasure to meet. You were just like a little light flitting around the convention floor, which was, you were delightful to meet. Thank you. Thank you for doing what you do, Mira.
Thank you. That's so sweet. Folks, I will make sure to put the link down below and share that information with you so that you can be in touch with Linda and her wonderful bars. And thank you so much for tuning in for this episode. And in everything you do, make today a healthy day. Bye, folks.